Hey guys, I'm Amaroth and welcome to my another video tutorial, and in this tutorial we will take a look at WMOs with interior WMO groups. But we will make just sort of introduction. We will convert this building here, this house, which has two rooms actually. So this is still a rather simple model, but it will still be, kind of challenge sort of in some ways. And we will get a little bit more into detail and a little bit more into depth of some particular settings in another future videos I will eventually make. But for now, we will just make basic building which has exterior and multiple interior parts. So we've got two rooms in this case. Just a small notification: this building obviously isn't a very perfect model. It doesn't have a very clean geometry. You can see this here, this overlap and so on. So I'm not particularly proud of this model. It is actually quite old model now, but it will serve its purpose in this tutorial. A few notes here, or a few more notes. You can see that I have deleted transparent windows, which used to be here. I found out that transparent windows are just something you can't really make work in World of Warcraft very well. So if you want to have transparent windows, which you can see through, just make WMOs with empty window frames and create M2 windows, which you will put into those window frames later by using due sets or by spawning them there by hand, either in game or in Nogit. Okay, so just empty window frames if you want to have transparent windows. Yet another thing, I have already talked about this in WMO geometry recommendations. If you haven't watched previous WMO videos, watch all of them before going to this episode, because otherwise some things here might not make too much sense to you. Now, assuming that you know what are portoplanes are supposed to be between transitions, between borders, between WMO groups. So we've got exterior here and we've got interior here. And as you can see, there is border here, there is border here, there is border here. So these are border lines between interior and exterior parts. And as you can see, in my case, they are rectangular, or actually they've got 4 verticals and 4 edges, and they are rectangular in my case. And that makes building WMO portals very easy. If you don't want to have such doors and windows, you want to have, for example, Gothic archways, something what is angled and so on, you would have to model basically your portals in a little bit different way. I will show you how. But this makes this for me very simple, because I've got 4 verticals between which I will just create portoplane, and that it will be done for me. So that's my model, which is prepared for conversion now, and we can get to it. So I've got my model already exported here to make this quicker. So I will run Blender and import, in my case, object file into it. So I've got my model here. Now, just for some reason, Maya is exporting these stairs as separated objects, so I will merge it. So I've got my 3 poly surfaces, and what should I already do is rename them to something recognizable. So this is exterior, this is int front, and for example this is int back. So I've got these WMO groups distinguished, and I've got descriptive names for them. This will be quite useful a little bit later. So I've got this renamed and set up. By the way, just a side note, I've got my object file I have imported into Blender in the same directory as my textures are, and all my textures are in this directory, and this will make setting up paths to textures very easy and very quick. It's the same trick as I have shown you in previous video, so if you haven't watched it, take a look at it. So now let's just turn these 3 parts into WMO groups. So now it will be basically the same as in previous video. So to WMO group, we want to change text face to materials. We want to WMO material. Most of my materials are actually wooden, so I will use terrain type wood. Now, when you change it like this, all materials were changed to wood, but they've got a little bit messed up for some reason, so you need to redo this text face to material and to WMO material yet again, and now those materials are all wood, as you can see, and they are okay, they are set as material, and you can see material here and so on. So I've got my materials set up, and just I want to get quick collision, so all my geometry is supposed to have collision and fill textures. And now this could be exported. This is a model which has all parts set as exterior, and this would work in game. But we want interior because we want to make use of, of some elements WMOs have, of some functions, and in order to make use of them, we need interior parts set as interior. So let's get to it. So we'll start with this. Select your interior parts and go to object settings here, and this is place type is set to outdoor by default, and you want to change it into indoor, and we will do it with all interior parts. So now all interior parts are indoor. This is indoor, this is indoor, this is outdoor because this is exterior, so that's what it is supposed to be like. Now, usually you would have to turn vertex color on because all interior parts have to have vertex color turned on, but plugin will do it for you, so you don't need to worry about this at all, at least not in up-to-date versions. So now we've got our interior set as indoor, and we will need to go ahead and create portoplanes. So how to do them? Well, what I do is that I hide exterior like this, and I hide all another interior parts. So we've got only this one part now shown. And now when I've got this selected, I can go to edit mode. I can access it here or by pressing tabulator. And now I will just select 4 verticals which are here, which are making that border. So this square here is borderline between interior and, in this case, exterior part of WMO. So I've got these 4 verticals selected. It always has to be 4 verticals. I'm just reminding you, portoplane has always 4 verticals, never less, never more. It has to have 4 verticals exactly. Now press F key, it will fill this, and now press P and press enter. So you want to get this plane and separate it by selection. So we've got this plane now as separated object basically. And now we will go back here and do the same with all windows and doors. You will need to do this for every single hole or for every single place or hole or window or whatever else through which is player supposed to be able to see through. So you can see into this room through windows and through doors. So we will have to fill all doors and all windows with portoplanes, and we have done it right now. So we've got these portoplanes here. There's 5 of them currently. And we will do the same with another room, with this one. We've got these doors already covered up, so we will move to Windows, and hit again F, enter. It isn't that bad. It can be tedious if you have a model like this, which has many windows, but if you've got only doors, like Blizzard has usually, then it's rather simple. Just select 4 verticals. Now, if you had windows or doors which have a little bit more complicated geometry and a little bit more complicated shape, you would have to create basically some sort of portoplane, and then you would have to, change it a little bit like this and make it fill a whole window or whole doors in order to fill that whole area so it already covers everything. So we've got our portal planes set up now, and what we will do now is that we will select all of them like this, and we will click on this on to WMO port on this button here. And now what has happened is that this WMO group has changed to portal plane. So we got all our portal planes set as portal plane. As you can see, this has remained untouched because we have hidden it and we didn't select it. And now we will have to set those portal planes up. How to do this? Well, this is first group, this is second group, and these are two groups which are connected by portal. So let's just move through all portals. These doors connect exterior and front part of interior. So in front and exterior. This window connects the same pair. So it again in front X. This window is the same. This window is the same. These doors here are connecting two interior parts. These doors are connecting interior back and interior front WMO groups. So we will need to set those doors like this. And let's go here, and this is interior back and exterior, interior back, exterior, and so on. I will just make sure that everything is okay. Okay. And now we can just unhide these hidden parts and we've got our model set up. Now there are some more settings. For example, I'm using Lighten Indoor right now and at the moment for automatic setting of brightness of interiors. So you can toy around a little bit with those ambient settings, and with vertex paint, for example, you can use vertex paint in interiors or even in exteriors. Just make sure that you've got vertex color turned on, and if you have vertex color turned on, you can just use vertex paint in Blender and vertex paint your model, and it will work in game. Or at least in Wrath of the Witch King. It doesn't really work in, for example, Worlds of Draenor, I have noticed, by the way. Just a side note. So we got our model set up. Now I will just go through materials because there are some things I haven't set up there. Because all my materials are at the moment wood. And for example, bricks are stone. Fireplace is yet another stone texture. So I will just go quickly through these. Outwall is supposed to be stone yet again. Collision isn't supposed to be matter, it's supposed to be ghost matter, just invisible collision. That's this. And that's it. And I know that there are bars, and this texture is supposed to have to be two-sided and have alpha blend mode. And we've got this stone floor, which is supposed to be stone as well. So we've got these set up, we've got set up materials, we've got portal planes and so on. So now just make sure that everything is shown, that nothing is hidden. And now we can just export it. So export WMO, navigate whenever we want to export it. I've got it exported already because I have tested this model before. And you really should test your WMOs in-game because Model Viewer isn't just going to show you all kinds of bugs which can happen. So I've got my model already spawned in Nugget, so just to make this quicker. So what you should really take a look at are portals. So can we see inside the building? Yes. This means the portals are working. Can we see outside the building? Yes. This yet again means that portals are working. Okay, if something was flickering or disappearing, or if we weren't able to see through this window, for example, it would mean that portal plane in that window is bugged and that it doesn't work. We can see into another room, it's okay. And you can also see that there is no flickering when we go through it. Nothing is flickering here, so that's okay. So portal plane is in proper space. It isn't moved. It is really on border between interior and exterior. Now this model isn't really perfect yet, but this works okay for now. So we can leave it as it is and call this done for now. It would use probably a little bit more, some vertex paint, maybe some lightning, and it would definitely use duded sets. I would like to create duded set with windows and so on. But for now, this is what I call done, and that's really it. So making just a very basic model with interior is actually quite simple. I know that this video probably wasn't very short, but when you get to it, you can do this rather quickly, at least as long as your model isn't too complicated. By the way, what I recommend as well is using machinima tools. I will share them in my tool pack if they aren't there. Use set time speed to 500 and just test what your model looks like in different light conditions during day and night cycles, so you can see what it behaves like inside, outside, and so on. So you can just check how your lighting works. So that's it, guys. I hope this was useful for you, and as always, happy modding.